Hello there, dear friends. This is Bob Hatton. This is the Encourager. We've already seen a lot of this big plan that God has got for us. We saw that Jesus came at last, as we just looked again through the Old Testament and all the we looked at some of the promises, but there's so many promises. There's so many, a forecast. God saying, I'm going to send somebody who will reconcile you to me again. And at last he comes. Jesus comes. And then we read about him living here amongst us, amongst men, and then his terrible end, when he's crucified and he gives his life, he lays his life down as a ransom for us. He buys us back, he redeems us. What wonderful words we have here to see different aspects of the death of Christ. They put him in a grave, he's buried, but he doesn't stay there. 3 days later, he is risen from the dead. He's already told his disciples that he will leave them. Perhaps they thought that was it. He's left them, now he's back again. But he says, it's better for you if I go, because if I go, I'll ask the Father to send the Holy Spirit. And when the Holy Spirit comes, he'll take a hold of you, and wherever you are, then I'll be through the Holy Spirit. At the moment, I'm only in one place at one time. But when the Holy Spirit comes and lives in you, wherever you are, I will be there. And I want you to make other people into my disciples, and I want you to teach them, and I want them to receive the Holy Spirit, so wherever they are, I will be too. And in the end, I want the whole earth to be full with my people, full then of the glory of God. And that's God's plan right from the beginning. He said to Adam and Eve, I want you to be fruitful and to multiply. I want you to fill the earth, because you know what? We are carriers of the glory of God, and wherever we go, the glory of God goes with us. And if we are filling this earth, the glory of God fills this earth. This is the ultimate plan that God has, that the earth will be filled with the glory of God. And God has said it will happen. So if you're feeling a little bit discouraged at the moment and wondering what God is going to do at this time, well, he was wanting to fill the earth with his presence, fill the earth with his glory, and it will happen. Now, we've gone back a little bit, because we were already on the day of Pentecost yesterday, and Peter said, when the people said, what must we do? He said, you've got to believe in Jesus, you've got to be baptized, and then you're going to receive the Holy Spirit. Now, if we go back to Ascension Day, the disciples had not really understood everything that Jesus had been talking about. And so he's talking to them, they've just had breakfast, and he says, listen, guys, John the Baptist, he baptized with water. But in a few days from now, you're going to be baptized with the Holy Spirit. Oh, they said, do you mean you're going to give the kingdom back to Israel? Is Israel going to be number one power? Is Israel going to become a superpower again? He's not talking about that. He says that, mind your own business about that. That's not what I'm talking about. But listen, you will receive power. You will receive power when the Holy Spirit comes upon you, and you will be my witnesses in Jerusalem, in Judea, in Samaria, and to the ends of the earth. He said, I want you to reach, I want you to go and share my love with every single ethnic, every single people's group on this earth. And as I said yesterday, we count around about 24,000 of them, and still some have never ever heard that Jesus has come. So we've still got a big job to do. So why is he talking about this? And the disciples think, what on earth is he speaking? He starts to hover. He starts to hover from the ground, and then a cloud comes and covers him, and he's gone. He's gone. I mean, he said he was going to go, but wasn't that with the crucifixion and his burial and then his resurrection? He's back again. Wasn't that at this time? Now, he's here one moment and he's gone the next. We're talking to him, we've got such close fellowship with him, and then he's gone. We can't see him, we can't feel him, we can't hear him. He's just gone. Well, what was happening, that Jesus had got to do something to do. He was going to heaven, he's going to speak to the Father, and the Father was going to send the Holy Spirit. And that took 10 days. And on the day of Pentecost, of course, the Holy Spirit it came. But, you know, I don't know whether you have experienced times like this where you've had intense fellowship, intense encounters with God in 1 minute, and it seems like the next day he's gone. You don't feel him, you don't see him, you don't hear him, and he seems to be so far away. I've experienced these times, you know, many times. When I was a young Christian, I was in the Middle East. I was stationed in the army on the island of Bahrain, and we had some fantastic times during that year. I think I was there for 30 months. It's a long time ago now. Can't really remember. But we experienced God in fantastic ways. You know, God spoke to us. God told us to go here, go there, do this, do that, and it all had hand and foot. It all came together, and he was there. People were giving their lives to Christ. We had a really excellent time. It was really very good. A good time when we were close to the Lord. But then after I've been there for a year, still a very young Christian, still got a lot of stuff to learn. I still have a lot of stuff to learn, but at that time it was still even more. I got the order that the army was sending me to Germany, where I still am. And when I came to Germany, it seemed to me that God was 20,000 miles away. He had gone. I've been experiencing him. I've had so many intense encounters with the living God, and now I come to Germany, I pray and nothing happens. I pray and it doesn't really seem that I'm connecting to God. And it was just such a difficult time. And what I realized afterwards, that God was getting me ready. God was preparing me. God was strengthening my faith during this time. God has got a purpose with everything that happens with us. Now, I don't know where you are right at this moment, but perhaps just in this corona crisis time that we've had and really still going through it, you know, maybe you suddenly got the feeling that God has gone. People were posting all kinds of things on the internet. There's all kinds of conspiracy theories that were contradicting one another, and the end result was fear. And you know, fear is a result of what people are telling us. I know it's not from God, but sometimes it's fear gets a hold of our heart. And what we need to remember, that whatever is happening at the moment is because God has got a plan and a purpose. For everything there is a purpose. That's what the book of Ecclesiastes tells us. I think it's chapter 12. For everything there's also a time and a purpose. And this time change. The times are changing all the time. We're coming slowly but surely into a new time. And I hope this time for you is a time of a close encounter with the risen Jesus. Well, be encouraged, because God has not forgotten you, whether you're not feeling him, whether you've not got goosebumps or whatever your indicator is, that God is still with you, whether you're feeling or not. But you're coming into a new season when God will be even closer to you. God bless you. Have a good day. I'll see you again. You're Bob Hatton, your encourager.